Why nobody is talking about the bad things of the Insta360 X4. There is a lot of YouTube videos talking about how good this camera is, which I agree, it is a great camera. But on the other hand, there is a lot of bad things as well that nobody is talking about. In this video, I'm going to share my frustration using the Insta360 X4 and the bad things about this camera. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael, and on YouTube I create content using kangaroo shoes or jumping stilts, and lately I got the Insta360 X4 to test it out and see if it is suitable for me. Just so you guys know, this is not a sponsored video. I bought this camera on my own and I don't want to sound so negative about this camera, so I'm going to go quickly over the good things and then we jump over straight to the bad things about the Insta360 X4. First thing first, the stabilizer. I am really blown of how good the stabilizer in this camera is. I've tested myself the GoPro and DJI action cameras, and no doubt the Insta360 X4 has one of the best stabilizer of all action cameras. And if you take a look of me jumping around with my stills with this camera on my head, you will never think that this footage will come out that clean. The camera stabilizer is actually insane. I've never seen anything like it, and the footage look afterwards so smooth. You can never tell that there's somebody jumping or running around like this and the footage look like this. Like, there is no way. Number 2, 360 degree. The fact that this camera has two lenses so it can shoot 360 degree all at once is perfect. All you have to do in the moment of action to press record, and then you can reframe and worry about the rest later. Because you can choose wherever you want to point the camera at. You can choose whatever frame or angle you want later on in post-production. Number 3, the resolution. This camera can shoot 8K 30 frames per second. Also, it can shoot 5.7K 60 frames per second. I myself use 5.7K because it has 60 frames per second. 8K does not have 60 frames per second. I use 60 frames per second because then later on I can do slow motion and I don't have the motion blur on people's faces when I want to zoom in and focus on somebody's face expression on me doing some crazy stuff. Number 4, stitching. The camera has two lenses on both sides, and the stitching does a great job of stitching both images together to give a full wide image. There are multiple stitching tools that you can use, but for me AI stitching works the best. Number 5, connecting the camera to the laptop or PC. It is very easy to connect the Insta360 X4 to the laptop or PC and work straight away on your file without downloading the file. Number 6 is the app. The Insta360 app is very easy to use. Once I connect my phone to the app, I can work on my files even if they are 8K or 5K, it doesn't matter. There is a proxy mode that you can choose and you will have no problem at all to edit your file and export and do all of that. It's very easy, it's very simple, and it's very smooth. Number 7 is reframing. The best thing is that I can use the same footage for YouTube and as well for Instagram Reel. So I can shoot in 360 mode and later on I can post a YouTube video. From the same video I can post Reel and have no problems, because I can crop the same file in a YouTube format video and in Instagram Reel with no cropping problems and no blur and no noisy footage. It's great looking footage. Number 8, my favorite feature in the app, is using the stats of the GPS or the Apple Watch. So if you have an Apple Watch or GPS, you can connect to the camera, and then when you shoot your footage, the camera will have stats from the GPS or the Apple Watch, and you can show that on the video. So for me, I use mostly the speed, the distance. When I run every day, I create a small time lapse from this video and I put the stats on it to show the track that I run and also the kilometer that I run, like the distance. Number 9, the colors in the camera. The colors in the camera are so great, and there's also feature that you can choose, like the vivid effect color that you can add on your footage. You can use straight in the camera, and also later on in the app you can also adjust the colors and play with the effects, and you always have the best and the perfect nice looking footage. Now let's talk about the accessories. The lens guard are very important, because no matter how you put the camera, it's always gonna land on the lens, because the lens are actually outside of the camera itself. Normal are better than premier, that's what I heard, and that's why I bought the normal, and they work perfectly fine for me. You need those lens guard for sure. The utility frame. As you can see, my camera has the utility frame, and I bought it because I want to attach the camera as a GoPro and also be able to protect the camera around, because I figured later on that was so important that I bought this one. It's very important that neither the sides of the camera touch anything around, because the camera is always laying on the table, or sometimes with my helmets laying on the wall. Okay, now that we are done with the good things about this camera, there's also so many good features, but these are the ones that I like most. Now let's talk about the bad things about this camera, and here where my frustration starts. Number one is the GPS. When I first bought the camera, the first day I had a great experience with it, the second day as well, but the third day my GPS started bugging and lagging. The remote has a GPS tracker, and it sends the data to the camera, and it tells the camera the distance, the route, the height, all of those, the stats basically that you can put on the video. I lost all of those data for a few days, and it was so frustrating, because I'm running without a GPS and I'm using the remote GPS, and half of my footage had data on it from the GPS and the other half had no data, or the first 2 minutes of the video that I shoot had data from the GPS, the other 8 minutes has no data. It's like a whole mess around the GPS. So I contact customer support. It's been a week or a week and a half since I uploaded this video, and I haven't heard anything about how to fix this problem. So most likely I will return the GPS and try to get another one, because maybe this unit is actually broken. I have no idea, but it's been bugging and doing a lot of problems since the day I bought it. So imagine just filming for 10 minutes and then have 2 minutes of data, or 8 minutes of data, and 2 minutes of the data are not there. So it's very frustrating, and it's very sad to see that. That is about the GPS. Number two, let's talk about motion blur. Using the app motion blur, it has never worked for me. Every time I try to add motion blur on a small video or on long video, it never works for me. So the app has no motion blur, or it has motion blur. I have no idea if somebody else is struggling with this problem, but every time I try to add the motion blur feature to my footage and export it, after exporting, the video has no motion blur, but inside the app I can see the motion blur on the video. They're added on the video, but when I export it, they're not on the video. It's crazy and so weird, but this is the way it is. Number three is export. Export is really a headache. So what I do, I usually use 10-minute video, and then I shrink it down with the speed, using the speed, and make it like 20, 30, 40 seconds, and then I export the footage. And after I do that, I export. The export time is around 20 to 25 minutes. That's insane. I'm just getting a 20 or 30-second video of 50 megabyte or 30 megabytes, and it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to export this small footage. Anyway, I tried also downloading this video to the app and try again. It did not work. I tried to contact and call customer support. Until now I have no answer about that as well, but I do that for a reason, because if I shoot like a time lapse, my run of 10 minutes like a time lapse, I will get like 30-40 second video, but I cannot add the stats on it, which is pity, because I always want my stats to be on the video to show the distance that I run and also the track that I run. I cannot do that if I do a fast video of 20 seconds. I need to film like a 10-minute video and speed it up to make it small, and then export it and wait every single day 10 to 25 minutes. That's the frustration. I'm gonna say some bad words. And wait every day 25 minutes to export a video of 30 or 40 megabytes. And the frustration on top of that, I cannot use my phone at all. So when I'm exporting the video, my phone has to be waiting for the export to finish. If I leave the app, the export will stop immediately, and when I go back to the app, the export will continue. But if I am not in the app just watching the export, it's not gonna work. Next is editing on the app. So you film your footage and you want to edit it on the app on your phone. I did that a few times and I completed the battery of my phone and the camera. I couldn't shoot anymore, so I had to recharge the camera again. So editing a long footage of like 5 minutes or 1 minute footage that you want to add so many frame to it and really have it all over the place, a bit here, a bit there, jumping, running, all of that stuff. Like the one that I am shooting, you can see a lot of movement here and there. That takes a lot of time to do because you want to choose your angles, and sometimes there's bugs and then you have to repeat some of the frames. Sometimes some of the frames get corrupted, so you have to repeat the process. It's just a bit frustrating, but while doing that you always drain the camera battery and your phone battery. This is the craziest thing that annoys me so much. In the app, once you enter to the footage, on the right side in the corner at the bottom there is the delete button, and I have lost so far 4 full videos that I filmed of 10 or 8 minutes in festivals or running, just because I pressed this button by accident and then I hit OK unconsciously because I'm editing fast and everything is going on quick. It's not like when you want to delete the footage you have to like really go out, select the video and delete it. No, it's while you're editing, the delete button is literally at the corner and you can hit that with your palm easily and then delete the whole footage. It's insane how I lost few of those footages. I'm like, did I delete the footage or did I delete the edit, or what happened? How did I just lose them that easily? So that is crazy, and they need to do something about that. I think that it needs to be somewhere like from outside, you know, you need to select really the footage from outside while you can see all the footage, select it and delete it like you have the intention to do that, not unconsciously just working and then boop, pressing on the bin and then all of a sudden it's going to the bin. Next is the text. There is no text feature in the app, so you have to do that on another app, and that's what I do always. I finish the video, export it, then put it back on CapCut put it back on CapCut or Premiere Pro and then edit it again. In the app there is 3 modes to edit the video. There is the Pro mode, there is auto mode, and there is AI mode, as I remember. The AI mode is useless. I never used it. I tried it a few times. It just makes this, to be honest, a stupid, useless footage because it never points on really nice shots of the scene. It's choosing different part of the scene and then combining them together and choose shots that are so irrelevant. Anyway, I never use the AI because I don't like it. This is what they promote the most about it, and I tried it a few times. You know, it's just like a fantasy that never works. You can use your phone, move around. It's really nice, it's really helpful, but it also doesn't work really well because you have to move with your hand or using your thumb with the like small joysticks on the screen, but you also have to zoom in and zoom out, and the zoom in and zoom out feature is never smooth. So I tried it when you film around and then you zoom in, the zoom is never like smooth zoom in. It's like boop, all of a sudden it feels like you're filming with a phone, and the zoom in button is not as smooth as it's supposed to be. So Pro is always the best for me and is the best feature to use, because when you zoom in or zoom out from the Pro between frame, they zoom in and zoom out smoothly and all the footage looks so much nicer and so much professional. Now I'm going to talk about the bad things about the accessories, then I'm going to talk about the bad things of the camera itself. The accessories has a lot of bad things, and one of the things that I'm going to mention are really stupid, I would say, in my opinion, because it feels like they have thought of really good stuff for the camera itself, but the accessories that comes with the camera, they haven't really thought of everything, I would say. There's a lot of small things that looks like they don't make any sense, and so it's very frustrating to see those wind muff are actually cut. I cut them myself to be able to attach them to filter out the wind when I'm running or jumping around with my stilts. Let's see in a windy condition, how is the internal microphone doing? Sunset? And that is a bit annoying because they didn't really think of the small things, even though everything you buy from Insta360 X4 as accessories, they're really expensive. For example, this utility frame is 70 euro, like in Europe. It's really expensive, or 11 euro for those wind muff, or 29 euro for the lens guard. The remote is actually 175 euro. This is really a lot of money just for those few accessories. If you want to buy all the accessory, it costs a fortune almost to have all those accessories with your camera. And that is for me really annoying because they are really overpriced, I would say. If you want to overprice an item like this, why haven't you thought of that? For example, putting a utility frame and not being able to attach the wind muff. The wind muff are actually taped on the camera. If you can see that, they come with a small sticker that you actually tape on the camera and then you attach the wind muff to it. How cheap is that? This is like very, very cheap, I would say. And also they didn't think of it in a nice way, you know? I didn't pay 550 euro for a camera so I can glue a sticker to it to attach the wind muff. That is really cheap. When you get the camera, I take it out of the box. It looks very nice. It looks very premium product. But then you get those accessories with it. I'm like, what is going on? This lens cap right here, as you can see, it is made of kind of silicone. And when you put it on top of the camera, it is actually silicone inside outside. So basically when you look at the camera, it is never clean after putting the silicone on it. You have to clean it every time you put the silicone cover on it. Every time you take it off to film, you have to clean your lenses. Now let's talk about the lens guard. That's also one of the biggest problems because the lenses are actually out and the lens guard is even more out. You're always gonna touch them with your hand. Whatever you do, you're gonna touch it unconsciously with your hand. So I'm always anxious not to touch those because I have to clean them again all the time. Once I tried to attach the lens guard to the camera, I was really shocked because the lens guard themselves move a little bit on top. Like if you move a little bit, they actually move. And it's so weird for me because it's a premium product and you really didn't think of those small things. Like the lens guard can move, dirt can go under. This is a waterproof product, but if I have the lens guard and I'm by the lake and I want to film a nice shot, I have to remove the lens guard and then shoot the shot and put back the lens guard, because I can never shoot a shot with the water with the lens guard on, because the water can go in between the lens guard and then the water gets stuck under the lens guard. Often that I see dirt and sand inside of my lens guard in between, so I clean it from outside and I still see that the footage still have dirt on it, and it doesn't make any sense why there is no like rubber or silicone that will block the dirt or the water from going inside. Now let's talk about the bad things in the camera itself. So I shoot in a lot of mode like auto and pro, but mostly I use auto mode and the camera is doing a great job in auto mode. But the bad thing is when you shoot in sunset, if you don't shoot in manual mode, you always get a low light footage. So for example, I shot the last time run around sunset time. It was not really that sunset, like I could still see the sun, I would say, setting, but the footage that came out of the Insta360 X4 was even more darker than it actually is. So I was looking outside and looking at the footage. I'm like, this is not that much darker outside. And the Insta360 X4 footage was much more darker on auto mode. In low light, the camera is not good at all. Very noisy footage. It's not great. Next is the 8K feature. It's very annoying that 8K can only shoot with 30 frames per second and not 60 frames per second. And for me, I can never use that feature. So I have a camera that shoots 8K, but I only use 5.7K because it's available with 60 frames per second, not only 30 frames per second. And for me, that's very important to shoot 8K 60 frames per second because I need higher frame rate to be able to do slow motion shots and to be able to see also the people's faces without blurry, because I'm always moving a lot. And 8K for me is very important because 8K is not based on one footage as you get. Basically, there is two cameras, so the 8K is divided between both of the cameras. It's not that this camera shoots 8K and this camera shoots 8K. No, both of the cameras have 8K, so it's actually divided. For me, I can only use 5.7K, so when I crop, I get 2K or 1080, and when I zoom in, it looks really horrible. From 5.7K 60 frames per second, if I want to zoom in on someone's face, like full the zoom, full to the person's face, it's very blurry, it's never sharp, it's not good. So I can never use that 8K resolution because it's only with 30 frames per second, and of course that's only my opinion and what I need it for. Now let's talk about the software. The software on the laptop is very nice, but at the same time it's very frustrating because I used it few times and it was very hectic sometimes, that you have the option to undo what you did, but it always corrupted the file. And it happened often that I put like 7 or 8 keyframes on different places to have nice motions and film here and there and blah blah. One of those keyframes is gonna get corrupted, and if I delete that keyframe and redo it again, the other is gonna get corrupted. So then I have to delete from that moment I have the keyframe and onwards, delete all the keyframes after that, and then repeat the whole sequence again. And it happens so often that I stopped, and they take really a lot of time and effort sometimes to have the best shots that you want. And on top of that, sometimes it does those weird moves, like for example, once I pointed at, let's say, a specific person, and then the next keyframe also at specific person, and then the next keyframe also at this specific person. So I have some nice footage that I'm going around an object and it's focusing on that object. It often happened that I have a smooth footage and then all of a sudden it's like boom, moving a little bit to the side and then going back in between the frames. But when I edited that footage, there was no movement at all, so I choose my frames by myself because the camera is always pointed on one place. But then when I put those 3 keyframes, in between those keyframes there is always weird movement, and then it go back to that keyframe to the person. It's like some kind of bug that is just destroying the whole editing nice experience, I would say. My conclusion, this camera is great. It's a really good camera, but there's a lot of frustrating thing that needs to be worked on. And I wish they fix all of those problems that I talked about, all of those things that I mentioned in these videos, because they are really frustrating, and customer support is not big of a help because they're very slow, and I think they have a lot of demand, and the company is not that big to be able to accept all of those problems and bugs and demands and be able to fix them all at once, or at least fast. So this takes a lot of time to contact customer support. They reply quickly, but it takes a lot of time to actually get reply back on what is the problem after you provide all the information that they need. And that is a problem. And the other problem is the accessories. Overall, it's a good camera. I love it myself because I can film. The best feature about it, I can film now and reframe later, and the problems is the one that I listed that really frustrating. Overall, I will still buy this camera, but I hope they fix all the problems that exist in this camera, otherwise it could be really frustrating. That was it for today's video, and see you later.